Welcome back to Lost Legacies. I don't know what episode this is, but we are talking about Lost Season 1, Episode 18. After Hurley sneaks a peek at Russo's maps, he begins to have an existential meltdown and proceeds to head out into the island to find Russo. So, Sam, what are we thinking? How'd you like it?
I loved it. I thought it was great. This is tier 1 A grade episode.
Yeah, man, this was Lost, you know? It was just, it had the mystery, it had the suspense, and it had the fun.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so crazy because it's so cool that the show is able to take something just so simple, you know, as like a repeating set of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like there's numbers everywhere. There's numbers controlling our entire lives. And somehow these numbers are controlling not just Hurley's life, but the lives of everybody who comes into contact with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Man, this is like peak Lost right here. You know, when you think about Lost, everyone thinks about those early seasons, and you think of the hatch and you think of the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And even more so than like the creature, the monster that's out there. I guess because it's off screen most of the time, and we haven't really seen it since episode 1.
No, it attacked Shannon a couple episodes back.
Well, that was like a dream state or something, remember?
But still,
yeah, I don't know. It also, but it didn't really happen. I don't count it because it didn't really happen. Because that was a big part of that episode. That was like the heaviest in the crap we have got so far. We had a character dead and everything. Yeah. It's like, oh, it wasn't real. And they pulled it off in a good way. It wasn't a cheap way. So the twist was like, oh, it didn't happen. It just adds to the mystery. Like, okay. But I think we heard it a couple times. Oh, and technically Locke saw it or saw something out there in his episode. That was like episode 4.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we've had pretty much little to no mysterious creature out there monster.
That's true. That's true.
We'll see. Even more than that, everyone talks about the numbers in the hatch. Mm-hmm. You think about classic Lost, and like now the numbers are in it. And man, I wrote very little notes on this episode just because I was in it all the way.
Mm-hmm.
This is also another one similar to Claire's story and a little bit of Walt's. Hurley's story, or the story of the island, started before the plane crash.
Mm-hmm.
And we get that in Hurley's backstory. So that's one of the things that makes it stand out, and we're starting to see more of now. Whereas the majority of people on this island, like, yeah, of course, they'll have their lives and stories. But this place, it's a second chance. This place is like a new beginning. But for a couple of characters, although it still may be true, specifically Claire, Walt, and Hurley, this island has ties to their backstories.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, really, the only one who realizes it is Hurley. Maybe Claire. Because she does have the talk with Charlie where he was saying, oh, the psychic knew you were supposed to come here.
Yeah.
Well, Hurley is straight up like losing his mind this episode because he's seen that connection now.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone listening, I'm assume you've seen the episode, although I know a few listeners don't. But essentially, just like the little summary in the beginning says, Shannon and Saeed have been working on Russo's maps, translating it. Hurley takes a sneak peek and he sees a set of 6 numbers repeated: 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. And he like starts, it's subtle at first, but we can see that it's gnawing at Hurley. And everyone's kind of, they can tell he's acting odd. But then he goes like on a reckless, what seems like suicide mission into the jungle to find Russo, risking life, limb, and heart and soul of the show, because let's face it, Hurley is the heart and soul of the survivors.
This is true.
He's Hagrid. He's like, if anything happens to Hurley, like, why keep watching? And everyone just might as well go, kill themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I agree.
But in the process, we get his backstory. So he is worth a lot of money. Those were the numbers he used on his lottery ticket.
If I encountered a series of numbers that just so happened to be associated with people who ended up taking their lives or going insane, I don't think I would use those numbers to win a lottery. Now, granted, Hurley didn't know that. Where they never outright state it, but we're led to believe that Hurley spent some time in a sort of like a mental health facility and ended up becoming friends with somebody who repeated those numbers. Never told him the significance of it, but he did repeat those numbers. And since Hurley knows now, that's just, and everybody's asking him throughout the episode after he wins the lottery, like, what made you come up with the numbers? What was that? And he's just very coy about it. He doesn't really say. And it isn't until later that, they piece together, or somebody else pieces together that Hurley used the numbers to win the lottery.
Well, yeah, and that's the twist. The twist is, like, we as an audience, we know that's the first scene. We know that he used those numbers in the lottery. And then we just see bad stuff start happening to him. And he starts to believe, first he thinks it's the money that's cursed. But then he starts to find out that it's the numbers. So his poor old grandpa dies mid-interview while they're congratulating him on winning all his money. When I'm trying to remember everything that happened. He buys his mom a new house, and she like breaks her ankle getting out of his Hummer, which were like brand new at that time, like 2005. She breaks her ankle. The new house catches on fire. He gets arrested falsely because they think he's like a drug dealer. But all these things, they kind of come around. So like his arrest got him a bunch of money from LAPD. Like this is interesting. He was talking to, I guess, his lawyer or accountant or whatever. And he's telling him about all these stocks that Hurley has and companies he owns, including a box company. What do we know that works at a box company?
Oh, Locke.
Yeah. I was like, oh, same one? Has to be. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Coincidence? Not in this show.
Yeah, not in this show.
It's either directly related or we forgot about it.
There is no coincidence. It's very much dense.
But they also say, like, you had another company in Canada that completely burned down. 8 people died, but it was insured and you're going to get a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
So then that's when Hurley starts to figure out it wasn't the money that's cursed. It's the numbers.
Yeah.
And then that's when it's revealed he got the numbers from this patient in this mental hospital. They never say it outright, but certain things that Hurley says throughout kind of leads you to believe that he was like a patient there. Several times throughout the episode, people say, "You're crazy, man," or "You're nuts," and he tells them, he's like, "I'm not crazy." So that's like the huge hint right there. Like, okay, this guy was in that hospital. That's how he met Leonard. His name was Leonard.
Leonard, that's what it
And
was.
Leonard, he just keeps repeating numbers over and over. And then when Hurley mentions, he's like, I kind of use them as the lottery number, as the my lottery numbers. Yeah, exactly. Leonard like snaps out of it and he starts freaking out. The first thing he says is, "You open the box." Now they're everywhere. They're out, and all of a sudden, like, oh my god, what's happening? He starts freaking out, and the guards have to restrain him. And Leonard tells him about his partner, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
who heard the numbers. And then Hurley ends up in Australia looking for this guy. Turns out he's dead. He killed himself
Mm-hmm.
because him and Leonard were, where were they? Some like Pacific Island somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, they were stationed at some outpost, and
Mm-hmm.
for like 2 years or something like that, they were just
Mm.
out there listening to messages.
And they got those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, the specifically the one who killed himself, he used them in a fair or something like that, and he won all this money. And it's the same thing as Hurley. All this stuff started happening, so quote unquote good stuff, but they always had like bad repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up killing himself. And the lady, the widow, basically tells Hurley, like, it's just coincidence, it's not real. And Hurley's like freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Very
that's essentially,
much incidents,
yeah,
lady.
yeah, yeah. So that's essentially all the flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's fueling him to find Russo on this island. And we got a cool little quest, you know?
I was just thinking about it too, like maybe like last episode, like I want to know like what kind of like because obviously you and I are big into D&D, and we like side quests, we like it
Mm-hmm.
when people are just like, I actually don't want to go down that path, I want to go this way for a second, and
Mm-hmm.
like, and then that opens up a whole other avenue, of adventure and excitement. And so I know that everybody's getting like their own individual episodes, but everybody's still very centered, you know, uh at this particular crash. The only one who really also had like a journey was Saeed. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
again, he went off and he found Rousseau. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of cool that Hurley is the one who like embarks on his own, quest.
Yeah.
And it's also to find Rousseau. And we find out that like Hurley is surprisingly capable. And I think part of the reason it's like a confidence thing. He wants so desperately to find Rousseau, to find the numbers, that he's not going to let anybody stop him. He like sets his foot on a trap, and
Mm-hmm.
Saeed tells him don't move, and they're like, okay, we're going to find something with his weight, we'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And when Charlie's like, his what weight? And Hurley just looks at him like, dude, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
And he lets go, and he like tucks and rolls out of the way of one of Russo's traps. And
Mm-hmm.
it works.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because everyone in this episode was assuming Hurley's like gonna die. He doesn't know what he's
Mhm.
doing, and they kept telling him, no, you can't do this, you can't do this, blah blah blah. Eventually they ended up going. And but here's the thing, like, it's not that he's capable, it's just that like remains unscathed
Mm.
because he is being very reckless. And even and I'm glad Charlie calls him out on that too, because after they cross the bridge and it breaks, Hurley even says, he's like, oh, they're like, wait there, we'll catch you. He's like, oh, just meet us there, we'll see you over there or whatever. And Charlie just straight up yells at him. He's like, shut up. He's like, are you listening to yourself? You're gonna get somebody killed. I was
Mm.
like, yes, that's what no one told him. Everyone's saying like, you can't do this, you can't do this, but no one is saying that you're gonna get somebody else killed.
Mm.
And that's the thing, because through all the flashbacks, we've never seen anything bad happen to Hurley. It's everything around him.
That's true.
The worst thing was that he falsely got arrested and he got a buttload of money for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's more of Hurley's mindset. Like, he knows, oh, it'll work out in the end for me.
Mm.
He's like, maybe I'm lucky. I'm not the one who's cursed. It's those numbers, or it's surrounding me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's more of that. He's kind of seeing that in his head, like, well, maybe even like I'm untouchable
Hmm.
because it's gonna work out for me in the end. And that's what I was thinking about. Because even then, once we're so start shooting at them, you hear the gunshot. One shooting at us. And there's gunshots, and then Saeed and Jack trip the explosive, and the whole thing blows up.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh man, Hurley's gonna get somebody killed.
That's true.
So, but
All right, fine.
well, maybe he is completely capable. He's just, it's hard to justify his decision making in this,
Yeah.
because he's just spiraling down. But in the end, and I also like how the audience knows, but fellow castaways don't. In the end, it works out, and it makes it look like, wow, Hurley's really capable because he has the whole climactic scene with Russo. I love it, man. He just like breaks down. He's talking about the numbers and everything and how everyone calls him crazy, but he just all he wanted was that validation. And Russo explains, like, well, her and her group, they got the same signal. They got the numbers, which led them to the island, which got everyone killed and got her child taken away from her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The numbers are cursed. And Hurley's just like, you could see it on his face. Like, that's all he wanted to hear. We don't know how long this has lasted, but it seems like a very long time. People weren't believing his story about the numbers. And from Jack and Saeed's perspective, they're just like, oh, well, he got the battery.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how Hurley went on this whole inner and outer journey, and like nobody realizes it. He's like
Yeah.
Abed in the background, going through his own adventures on Community.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that was cool.
That was cool.
Yeah. What else happened? I'm trying to think of what was the non-Hurley stuff.
Locke asks Claire to help him build something.
That was sweet. That was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. That was really cool. So, they end up bonding, and
Mhm.
really, like, nobody outside of Charlie has bothered to like form any sort of connection with Claire.
Mhm.
Um, obviously, like, some people have talked to her, but it's always, like, are you okay? Like, how's the baby doing? Things like that. Like, nobody's just asking, like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Locke shows up, and that was just such a twist. And they end up having a really nice, day together. And it turns out that this whole time, Locke has been having Claire help him build a cradle for
Mhm.
her baby.
Yeah. That was a really cute twist. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that was really nice.
But the subtext of it is even better because Locke has once again found a way to manipulate his way into getting into somebody's good graces, and of course, he picks the expectant mother to, have an activity with and then surprise her with the cradle that's not going to benefit her at the moment, but later on. And yeah, so obviously, push comes to shove, and, people on the island are going to be like, what? What's going on? And they're gonna go to Lockside.
Yeah. 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 Interesting. You can't take anything Locke says or does at face value.
Mm-hmm.
The other stuff, I mean, I like there's a short, sweet little scene of Kate and Son uh, talking about Jin. Son doesn't know if he'll ever forgive her or not, and she's really curious if once the raft is finished, is Jin gonna leave? Is he gonna leave her there?
Yeah.
That's the question. And it's nice to see Michael and Jin. They're still fighting, but at least they're working together now.
Yeah. It's productive fighting.
Yeah, yeah. And it was nice to see Shannon showing some genuine concern that Saeed is leaving after Hurley.
Mm-hmm.
She really likes this guy. She still might be a little bit on the side of like needy, like I need you,
Yeah.
but she has come a good way since we first met her in episode 1.
Their relationship is such a curveball. You know, we talked about
Mhm.
that. The like, yeah, I never expected, you know, when we see like the cast lineup and you know the opening episode, like that's the one. It's like it's a pairing that I never thought I needed, but I really like it. I really like where they're going. However, we now have a curveball in the situation because after Russo's place blew up, Jack and Saeed are looking through the wreckage to see if they can salvage anything. What
Right.
does Saeed find?
He finds his picture of Nadia.
Yep, finds Nadia's
Yeah.
picture,
It's all burnt
and
up and stuff, but he finds it again.
yeah, and he puts it in his pocket. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
have a feeling that that's going to come into play, if not immediately, you know, in the
Eventually.
yeah, eventually.
Because let's not forget what he tells Russo. He got her killed.
Yeah,
And we never saw that in the flashbacks. As far as
yeah,
we know, she got away.
yeah.
So who knows? Maybe. What we do know is that there's still more to that story between Saeed and Nadia that we as
Mhm.
an audience haven't got yet. We don't know what it is though. I have to wait and see. But it was really good to see Russo again. Even after last episode, we mentioned Mira Furlan passed away. I was like, oh man, like
Yeah.
she's so good, and she's one of those eye actors. She has the
Oh, with
same
like,
stoic face. She cannot
yeah.
move, but she's acting with her eyes. You know, you see the the intensity. She has her guard up, the walls are up, and she's pointing the rifle at Hurley. And as he
Hmm.
does his little plea and breakdown, you just see it like just suck out of her, and you see her figuring it out and figuring him out and just showing some empathy. She did that for Saeed as well, but I don't know. It's really nice to see that.
Yeah.
And now I'm glad that it isn't just a Russo Saeed relationship. Now she does have some kind of tie to Hurley.
Hmm.
And that's two castaways now she's held at gunpoint and let walk away. So I think those her relationship with the castaways is slowly getting stronger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I'm glad Charlie had something to do this episode. It's been a while, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Even if it was kind of to just like, you know, run after Hurley, you know, almost get shot at,
Yeah.
you know, but they do have the conversation kind of at the end of the episode where, you know, Hurley was about to tell Charlie like his, you know, his big secret, like what's driving him, because Charlie tells him before the bullets start flying that when he was on the plane, he was doing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
couldn't make it through one plane ride without a fix.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you know, obviously like Hurley feels like the plane crash is his fault now because of the numbers. And Charlie doesn't really know about the numbers, but once he hears that Hurley blames himself for the plane crash, he just says, "No, it's not your fault. Like that's, you know, you can't put that on yourself. That's not fair."
Yeah.
And then yeah, it isn't until the end where Hurley finally tells him like back home I'm worth a lot of money. And
Yeah.
at that point Charlie just doesn't want to hear it because
It's in,
he thinks he's lying to him.
it's interesting though because it's almost as if Charlie didn't want to hear it anyway. Because
Yeah.
he doesn't tell Hurley that this isn't your fault. You shouldn't worry about this. No, like he like almost attacks him with it. He's
Mm,
like, there's no way. Like he almost like he's mad at Hurley. He's like,
yeah.
there's no way this is your fault. Don't worry about it. You know, we all have our own crap and we're all dealing with it.
Right.
And it's like out of that anger, that's how he admits that he was doing drugs. If he
Hmm.
had told anyone else, if he had told that to Locke would have listened. Even if he told to Jack, Jack has excellent bedside manner. He would have said the exact same thing, but he would have done it in a more caring way.
Yeah.
Whereas Charlie's just like, how the hell is this your fault? You know, we're all messed up people before, and we're still messed up people now. And so then by the time Hurley actually reveals the truth is stranger than fiction, he's like, oh yeah, I'm worth all this money. Charlie's definitely not having it. He's like, oh man, forget you.
Yeah.
But I am really enjoying seeing that combo, the Charlie Hurley combo, a lot more. It's
Mhm.
like every couple episodes they get to do something together, and
Yeah.
they're fun. Those two actors together.
Mhm. Yeah, they make even, burying a dead body fun, surprisingly.
Yeah, I remember that. Let's see. We pretty much talked about all my notes already. I told you I didn't write anything really, other than they do reveal. Russo reveals that the radio tower is up by the Black Rock,
Yeah.
and I don't remember if she's mentioned it before, but Claire mentions it in her diary that she had dreams of the Black Rock. And I think
Oh,
Saeed
that's
and
right.
them, before they found Claire? Yeah, they were also saying like I think this has to do, the Black Rock is like mentioned on the map.
Mhm.
They don't know how or where it's at, but it's mentioned. So the map, the diary, and now Russo says the radio tower is up by the Black Rock. So there's all these connections to the Black Rock, whatever that is.
Mhm.
And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, and how you said Saeed and Hurley are the only ones who really kind of ventured out into the jungle. It's like what do like in video games or something, the fog of war. Like, oh, I can't see beyond that point. I haven't explored it yet. That's what
Yeah.
this whole first season feels like. We're slowly getting new landmarks.
Mhm.
Russo's place just blew up, but we know there's a hatch out there. That bridge is there, and that got destroyed.
Mhm.
But I feel like you're slowly, very slowly, kind of exploring the island, and storytelling wise and writing wise, that's a gold mine because you could just add stuff whenever you want,
Mhm.
or build it in organically. So that's what's going to be exciting to see. What else is on this island?
Hmm.
How big is this island? Is it even an island? I think that's one of like Hurley's lines from like one of the first episodes. You hear him in the background. He's like,
Yeah.
technically, we don't even know it's an island.
What does that mean?
I know.
I'm telling you, man. It's Krakoa, the island that's really a mutant from the X-Men.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, let's see, man. What after today? Well, I guess let's do MVP first. I mean,
Okay.
I think it's an easy answer. Who do you think?
Absolutely. It's an easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's John Locke's baby crib. No, obviously it's Hurley, Jorge Garcia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's awesome. Like you said, he's the heart and soul of Lost.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. I found inspiration from just watching like this, this like pretty hefty dude just trekking through the jungle and making his own way. He outruns bullets, Matthew. He crosses a deadly rickety bridge without a scratch, you know?
And again, let's harp on it some more because I've done it several times. The fact that this show is so diverse, and it has nothing to do with one, trying to be diverse, or two, anything to do with the plot. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just matter of fact, this is the cast, they're diverse. What it actually has to deal with is the creators finding actors that they loved.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. There's no character for an overweight Mexican guy, but we love this actor so much, we're gonna write him his own damn character.
Yeah.
Same thing with Sun and Jin. Like, well, we're not gonna give her the main role. Let's write her a character. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of writing the typical, oh well, this character needs a love interest. Usually that's like this man needs a love interest. We're just gonna write this woman into the show. The flip, like, well, we're writing a character for this woman. Let's just give her a husband. Let's write a love interest for her. Okay, boom. So you got Jin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I just love how diverse this cast is, And if you don't know anything about loss, you just say, okay, cool. What a cool decision. But the truth is, it was creatives, it was people in power who saw beyond race and gender and just say, hey, we like you. We want to work with you.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And it continues on. This is season 1. We got 5 more to go with so many other characters, so many other actors, all different backgrounds and walks of life. It's awesome. I just love that. That reason alone, the diversity and the quality of acting alone should be why people should give this show a shot. That being said, predictions, Sam. Oh wait, I didn't say my MVP.
Yeah, you didn't say your MVP.
Mira Furlan, R.I.P. And she was only in this episode for one scene, but that's the climax. Without her, Hurley story wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And without her reaction that we already talked about is what really sold it.
Mm-hmm.
Got to give it to Mira Furlan Russo for this, and cross your fingers, we get to see more of her.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we can go into predictions. Any predictions? We did skip last week. We can continue to skip if you want, but out of the new info we have this time, what do you got?
Yeah. I think we've skipped like the last couple of weeks because I haven't known. But yeah, so presented with this new information. I feel like the numbers. Well, we also didn't talk about the last shot of this of the episode.
Okay, set us up. Explain this last shot.
All right, so very end of the episode, slow pan down to the jungle, night, moonlight just sleeping through the leaves, sort of creating an eerie sort of glow on the hatch as it comes into focus. Michael Giacchino's scoring sounds more like a refrigerator. And it slowly zooms in, and we don't go to any like the top of the hatch or anything like that. No, we go towards the bottom. Very small numbers that are on the side of the hatch. Matthew, what numbers are on the outside of the hatch?
4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. I have it memorized right here in my head, tattooed in my heart.
Oh my God.
Okay, but seriously though, after this episode, it was reported that buttloads, that's a technical term, Sam, buttloads of people were using the same 6 numbers on their lottery ticket. What numbers were those? 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
Wow.
It was like that for a year, 2 years. Like the number of people who were using those numbers was outrageous. Because one, if those are the numbers, you're going to be splitting it with like half the country.
Yeah.
You'll get $1. I thought that was fun. That's something I remember. I'm like, I think I used those numbers 2 or 3 times.
I remember that.
But I don't really do like the Powerball stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a scratch off man myself.
Well, I don't gamble, so there you go. That's how many times I've used the numbers. But this is something to think about. I think enough time has passed. Whereas if you were to use the numbers, I think your chances of getting it would be higher.
Yeah, probably. Also, if you use the numbers now and they actually win, can you imagine the amount of sheer craziness that would happen in the world? Wait a second, this worked? Oh man, instant reboot, instant everything. They're gonna do a reunion.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah,
they would. That would be wild.
What's the next? Because they pass their 10-year anniversary?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like
okay. Oh, that was what, like 2015?
Yeah, they just passed the 10-year from the finale.
Oh my
It's
God.
been off
Wait,
the airs over a decade already.
when did this show premiere?
04 to 2010.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm at that point in my life where I'm having a hard time remembering like how far away certain years are from each other. I still think like 10 years ago was the 90s.
Oh my God,
And
wait a second.
it's really not.
Did you graduate high school in 2010?
Yeah, I did.
Wow, we
Yeah.
missed your 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, I know. They didn't even do a I think they put out like an initial like, oh hey, like we're doing, and it was like the November before they were like, oh yeah, like we're doing like the 10-year reunion.
Yeah,
But that was supposed to be last year. And of course, because
yeah,
of
middle quarantine.
in the
Thank
middle of
God.
quarantine.
Would you have
Yeah.
gone?
I don't know. I thought about it. I kept going back and forth, and a few of my close friends who I still talk to on the regular, they were saying that like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna go. And I was like, I don't know, like I kind of want to. And then we all just made an agreement, like, okay, if Sam goes, we all go.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, cool. So that was on me, and that was a lot of pressure. But now that pressure's off because we're not doing it anymore. So besides,
Yeah.
nobody goes to the 10-year reunion. Okay. You gotta wait for like the 20 years.
I don't know, dude. I know a lot of people who are psyched for my 10-year reunion, but I was of the mindset like everyone I really want to go see, they're not going to be there. So
We'll see. That's the thing. Like the 10-year reunion is more for like the people who really loved high school and really missed high school, And I'm not one of those people. When I was in high school, and every time somebody told me these were going to be the best 4 years of my life, I wanted to punch myself in the face.
yeah,
Awful. Did not like it.
yeah,
Not the best 4 years by a mile. Okay. So yeah, that's why I was sort of on the fence, but now I'm happy with my decision that I technically didn't have to make because of quarantine and COVID,
mm-hmm.
of not going to
Yeah.
the 10-year reunion. But
Even
yeah,
then,
I think,
see, there you go, dude. You had an excuse. The universe provided an excuse for you.
oh my God, does that, Matthew, think I'm special? The universe saw my struggle and gave me an out.
Hey, dude, if you think that's something, I caved in finally and I signed up for a dating app. And then 1 year later, I'm sorry, 1 week later,
Okay.
worldwide fucking pandemic. So I'm like, God, I hear you. I get the hint. I canceled the account and I haven't been back.
Wow. Well, let me just say
I'm
I'm proud
sorry,
of you.
world. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I'm doomed to be alone forever.
How dare you? But I'm proud of you. That's a pretty big step. Good job.
I
Good job,
felt
Matt.
dirty the whole time, Sam.
That whole week,
That whole
7
week.
days, you felt dirty. Get over it, Matthew.
Tainted. Oh, used goods.
Oh my God.
Oh man, the show went off the rails. And I was gonna say, hey, I think this is our shortest episode. It should have been, damn it.
We're cutting all of this for time and content.
Yeah.
No. Okay. I guess as far as predictions go, I think it's a cheat to say that the numbers are gonna, come in a significant way or anything like that. But I'm gonna predict actually that within the next I'm gonna say 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Within the next 2 episodes, somebody else is gonna find out about the hatch.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because one, we haven't spent a lot of time with Locke and Boone lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's going to change, even if it's just like, B story stuff. But I do think some point very soon, and I'm going to put it within the next 2 episodes, that somebody else is going to find out about the hatch.
Interesting. Okay.
Also, I believe that somebody is going to start tying the threads together of these sort of occurrences and events that took place before the island.
Okay.
Claire being like forced this trip, Walt and his sort of Stephen King abilities, Hurley and his numbers. Also, somebody, I feel like, and this can also be tied in with it. Somebody's gonna find out about Locke,
and like that he was paralyzed.
Yeah, that he was paralyzed when he was on the plane, and after the plane crash, he could walk. Somebody's gonna figure that out. So I'm gonna throw that in the pot as well. That somebody's going to start tying the threads together. To what end? I don't know, but I haven't gotten that far. So that's all I got.
Pretty solid predictions, especially since we only have 6 episodes left of this season.
Again, let me just say, I think it's refreshing that in this year now, 2021, in this year that we're watching a show that has more than 10 episodes.
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of been my thing. And I feel like, story writers and, TV execs and all that, like they're starting to like pare down episodes. One, because there's so much content on multiple streaming services that also have to compete with, television, and HBO and all of that. So it's like what they need, something that's going to hook people fast. People are going to get like, oh yeah, I really want to watch that. And yeah, there's only so much money to go around for that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think, man, like it's kind of refreshing to just have a show that's like, what, there's like 25 episodes or something in this season
something
1.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think that's really cool, and that there's gonna be more. There's at least 6 seasons worth of, long form series.
Yeah. Yeah. And okay, so we got 6 episodes left, and the finale is a double.
I love those. I love
it,
double
man.
finales.
It makes everything feel more epic, because although this first season so far hasn't been as fast paced as most television nowadays,
sure,
it's really added this kind of epicness to it. Well, what's a word? Grandiosity, is that a word?
Sure. I know what word you're trying to say, but I can't say it.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, it's just added this a saga level kind of feel to it, and I don't know, I'm really excited to hear your thoughts and opinions once this first season ends, and we can kind of look back on it as a whole. Well, man, that was fun. I had a blast.
As did I.
Next week, we're talking about Lost Season 1, Episode 19, Deus Ex Machina. After not being able to open the hatch, Locke and Boone find something else equally mysterious. Oh, boy.
What did I say?
Yeah, you just mentioned we hadn't seen Locke and Boone in a while, and we were just talking about finding things, landmarks, on this island. Who knows what's happening next week, man? Well, thanks for joining us. Once again, you can find me at _Matt Jimenez on Twitter. Sam, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at Reel, that's REEL, Texas Weirdo.
Perfect. Till next time, get lost.